Now that summer is in full swing, lots of places around the world are finally enjoying picnic weather, which is why I am so excited about this month's Hero Arts monthly kits and add-ons. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing the Hero Arts main monthly premium and classic kit as well as add-ons. This month, they are celebrating summer with the season of picnics, and there's everything you need from stamps, dies, and stencils to create cards that go along with that fun theme. There's lots of new supplies this month, so let's jump right into the card making and I'll share the new products along the way. First, let's take a look at the classic kit this month. So you get this large stamp set that has a bunch of silhouette images. You also get a die set that creates the same type of images, and you get this texture cling mounted stamp. For the premium kit, there is some other additional items that you get as well as this die set. So in both kits there's cardstock or inks or things like that, but I'm working just today with the stamps, stencils, and dies. So I started with that texture stamp and created a light gray background. I love the texture in that stamp. It looks like linen or some type of fabric, burlap maybe. It's really pretty and it is the perfect backdrop for these silhouette stamps. So I stamped a number of them, a butterfly and a few stems, and then I'll also stamp a sentiment from the stamp set right up in the left-hand corner of that background. I also die cut a few of the dandelion stems. Now I know they look quite a bit bigger than some of the other stems, but I thought they were so pretty in gold, and I love the way the gold looks with the navy on that light gray background. A very simple card to create, but you could definitely use the silhouette stamps in so many different ways. Now for the premium kit, I did cut out a bunch of the elements from those dies. So I have the picnic basket, I have a baguette, I have a wine bottle, and some wine glasses and some grapes. For the baguette, I did cut it out in an ivory or off-white color, and then I'll use a little bit of Distress Oxide tea dye with a small shader brush to add some extra color to it so it looks like it's been toasted or baked. And then for the picnic basket, I'll do the same thing but with a darker Distress Oxide ink just to add a little bit of extra dimension and interest to the die cut. It's already so cool because it has all the little die cut elements on the basket that make it look woven. For the wine bottle, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Now, this took a little bit of time, but I love the outcome, so I'm going to share exactly how I did it. I started with a wine bottle cut out in kind of a cranberry color, and I added some seedless preserves. For the wine glasses, I added a little bit of tumbled glass just to make them look like glass. Okay, back to the wine bottle. So I cut the wine bottle out of craft cardstock, and I'm just using the cork on that craft cardstock. So I snipped the cork off the craft wine bottle and then adhered it to the kind of wine looking one. Then I have a gold wine bottle also cut out. So I'll use that for the little foil that goes underneath the cork. And then for an off-white wine bottle, I'll cut out the label that's going to go on the wine bottle. And that I will just add a little bit of ink just to kind of age it a little bit and add a little bit so it doesn't look so stark off-white. Adhering all those down with liquid glue, I decided to cut one more piece out of the gold mirror cardstock so that I would have kind of that foil label at the neck of the wine bottle. This was so much fun to do. This is something that I don't usually put this much time into a die cut, but it just looks so real and so cute that I couldn't help myself. I stamped Life's a Picnic on an A2 piece of white cardstock, and then I'll pop up the picnic basket on some foam tape. Then I'll take a little bit of foam tape and a little bit of liquid adhesive. So the foam tape is at the top of the baguette and the liquid adhesive is at the bottom just to make sure it stays put. Same thing with grapes, which I did add a stem by ink blending just on the stem. And then I'll place that bottle right inside the picnic basket, kind of tilted to the side. Same thing with these little wine glasses. So I had so much fun with these tiny little elements and creating such a fun picnic basket. And you can definitely do this with the other elements as well and just have fun with a little bit of ink and those die cuts. Now let's move on to this month's add-ons. This is the Layering Watermelon Stencil. So it's a 3-pack of stencils, and each layer creates a different part of a watermelon background. So very easy to do. You can use these on top of a piece of cardstock that is the same size. This way it's easy to line them up every single time. There are also tiny little squares in the corners, and that will help you determine exactly where to line them up when you put the next stencil down on your cardstock. So this time I'm ink blending with a round ink blender so that I can cover up the entire stencil with some Distress Oxide in Kitsch Flamingo for the pink layer of the watermelon. So you could obviously do that in red as well. I sometimes like the pink with the green. I think it looks really cute. And a darker green for the interesting elements on the outside, kind of the different colors of green on the watermelon, and then a tiny little blending brush for the black soot Distress Oxide, because I don't want to cover the entire stencil with black, obviously. And those are for the little seeds. It's a really cute background. This is the Hello Lady bundle stamps and dies. It's got a couple of different ladybugs, some flowers, some vines, and some sentiments, and the dies to cut almost everything out on that stamp set. So I'll cut the panel of watermelons down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'll color in one of those ladybugs so that I can use that background with one of the ladybug stamps. Now, what I think is really cute is the contrast of size here. So the watermelons are the background, so they're smaller, and the ladybug is kind of the focal point, so it's a large ladybug on that background of watermelons. So I use some darker grays for the spots, the head, and the wings. This way you can still see the elements of the stamp outline. And then I decided to cut out the sentiment that says "You're the best." The great thing about having sentiment dies is that you can pop those sentiments up. So it's a kind of a busy background, so popping it up really helps it stand out against that really cute background. This is the Lemonade Day bundle stamps and dies. Super, super cute set. I decided to go with the large pitcher and a couple of different sizes of glasses, as well as some of the fruits and the little bees and the little mint there. So I have some light blue on the glass of each of these, and then I have the drink or the liquid that's inside colored in either lemon for lemonade or lime for limeade, and then I just go darker with the fruits that are floating inside so that you can really see everything, and those little ice cubes I did with the light blue as well so that they kind of stood out too. And then really just easy to die cut those all out with those matching dies, hold them in place with a little bit of tape, and then I decided to stamp Sending Happiness and die cut that out. The next stamps that we're going to use has this picnic blanket stamp, which stamps the little gingham that I'm using at the bottom here. It doesn't have a die, but you can easily cut it out with your paper trimmer, or you can just stamp it on the background of your card. You could even stamp it multiple times if you wanted to create a larger picnic blanket. I love the summary images in this stamp set. It makes for a really fun card. The next set is called the Picnic Basket Bundle with stamps and dies, and you can see there are several dies to cut out the larger images, and there are also dies to cut out the 3 sentiments that are included. So this is a really cute set, either for an invitation for a picnic or just let's have a picnic. This is the Marching Ants Bold Prints background. Now I used some black ink to stamp these. I've never thought ants were cute until now in this stamp background. They are just so adorable, marching in this fun, crazy pattern. This is the Meadow Floor Bold Prints Cling background stamp, and I stamped that in a nice light green. So I'm going to use both of those backgrounds on one card by cutting them down into different blocks. So I have the background cut down to an A2 size, and then I'll slice off just a piece of it because I'm not using the whole ant background. I'm using part of that and part of the meadow. So the meadow I kept to an A2 size, and then we'll layer those ants on top. I decided to use a little bit of the Hero Arts Neon Chartreuse because I wanted wanted a little bit more green for that meadow. Here's that picnic blanket stamp again. It's so cute. This time I'm doing it in more traditional red and white. And then it's time to color in and die cut out the images that I'll use and the sentiment for this card. So here's the little slice of ants that's going down at the bottom of the card. It's like you have two pieces of pattern paper, which is really nice about background stamps because your pattern paper that you make can be any color you want and coordinate with your card. Next up is the Park Background Bold Prints. This is another 6x6 cling background stamp. So for this one, I decided to go with a rainbow of colors on this background. So I'm just inking up part of the stamp and then stamping it. I don't even clean off because I'm just using part of the ink pad to ink up part of the stamp. And I'll overlap a little bit so that you get a nice continuous color. This is the Playful Pets Bundle Stamps and Dies. Of course, I love this. The cutest dogs ever. I love the one that's sitting and looking to the side. I just think it's so sweet. So I stamped those in alcohol-friendly ink on alcohol-friendly cardstock, and then I'm coloring them in with my Ohuhu markers. I struggle a little bit with things like dogs that have to look, or don't have to, but I tend to color them in, or try to, a little bit more realistic. So basically I just try to keep the face a little bit lighter than the rest of the body and add some elements of different shading and blending just to add a little bit of interest to, say, paws or ears or tails. And this guy is just so cute. I can't get over how adorable that face is. I'll also color in the stick, and I'll do just a hint of light gray on the bone just so it's not stark white. And then I stamped the sentiment "You are doggone great" right over the background. If you use a nice black pigment ink like VersaFine Black Onyx ink, it will really show up perfectly on that background that you've stamped. So I popped up the dogs and then added the accessories for a little bit of playful fun. I'd love to hear what caught your eye this month. Let me know in the comments below. YouTube thinks you might be interested in watching this video next. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. That go with that that go with what? Go along with that thumb. I thought I had it, but I didn't.